Okay, guys. So good day, guys. My name is Ayinolumide. So let's continue with our training. Now we'll look at the aspects of the invoicing platform, Zoho invoicing platform, which we've been talking about since then. As at this process, we'll look at the invoice itself. So what do we call invoice? In a simple term, we can refer invoice as a commercial document that shows what's it called, sales, that is transactions on sales has been done between a seller and a buyer. So it's more like a proof of sales that it has been made. So, and this document shows the details of both the buyer and the seller. It shows the quantity, it shows the details of the products that are actually being sold. So if I look at this on our manual, you will see what it is. Then why do we need an invoice? Yeah, we use it to track payments, because when payment is being made on your sales, it is being referred to a particular invoice. So aside the fact that it shows that sales has been made, it also serves as a record for the accountant. It helps accountant to know, okay, this it's part of the records that accountants keep. Then it's also serve as the data that is being used to analyze business trends. So for instance, you can know your customers buying trends, the peak period, the top selling products, and so many other things to know, or to set up strategies around your business to boost your sales. So it can also be used to for the ease of tax filing, because at every point whereby you raise an invoice, an element of tax is being picked, so that you can actually be able to use it for your tax return. So, like I have said, I've been able to explain the elements of an invoice. Now, the elements are no more than the fact that it should be bold. So, on the document, now we're talking about the document called invoice. You will see a document that has invoice. So, the word invoice is actually being labeled on the document and is actually being bold. Then also it has a unique number. So for every sales that you make, a unique number is being given to that document. Like I told you earlier on, that when payment is being made, the document that is the invoice is being referred to. So in that sense, that unique number is what is actually, so that you can actually have an audit trail on your sales that is being made. Then the invoice date is also being important. It's also important because for me to be able to run my financial reports, I need the invoice date as my transaction date. So which is then the payment terms that you agree with your supplier, that is being agreed between supplier and buyer. It needs to be spelled out on it. So like the due date, you need to specify when is my customer supposed to make payment on it. The address of the seller, the address of the customers are being well labeled on it. Then the items that are being sold, there's an amount due has to be there. The terms and conditions, if you have, it's also advisable to have it. Then there is need to have authorized signature on it. Then also we can look at something we call professional tips. Yeah, there are some professional tips that can be used in creating invoices. Now, if you have a brand, that brand needs to be spelled out and it must go along with all your documents. So it's better to have that theme, your business color also you need to have it on your document. So it makes the invoice represent your company or represent your brand anywhere it goes. So mere looking at an invoice, somebody will be able to refer, oh, this invoice, this is more like this people's company. You understand? So those are the kind of things. Then it's also good to be clear about the product or service you are offering. Yeah, it's good to be clear. Then you shouldn't have any hidden charges. So every charge is that you are going to be having must be well spelled out on your invoice. So then you should have your total. Let the customer look at their invoice and be able to say, okay, this is the actual thing, sales that was being made, and this is the amount I've actually been paid. You understand? So aside that, we should also have what's it called? Then also it's good to have multiple payment options. These days, when payments are being made, well, there's always issue of either the bank network is down, or maybe there's so many reasons why payments can be delayed, and you want to make sure that these things, you want to ease your customer that stress. So why don't you give them different payment options on the system? So your invoice could also have that spelled out. And it is good to always say thank you for every sales that is being made. Yeah, it's good to say thank you. So it gives that level of confidence in your customer that okay, you actually appreciate what service you have provided to him or her. Understand? So those are just the elements, and understanding what invoice as a document is all about. Then we look at the aspect of creating an invoice to a customer. How do you create an invoice to a customer? We'll look at some scenarios now on the system. Let me bring out the system. So how do we create an invoice? Now we have a module here called invoice. So you can actually click this. So this will list out all invoices. It will show you the status. It will show you the due date. It will show you the amount and balance due on that particular invoice. So this is what the invoice looks like. This is what the invoice looks like. So you can see the date, that is the date of the transaction. You can see the invoice number. So if you want to create a new invoice, so you can click here. You understand? You can click here to create a new invoice. So just click here. So aside looking at using this, let me just click here first. So aside looking at this, now take note of something. What has the system brought out for you here? The system has told you that you pick a customer name, which means you must have a customer created on the system before you can actually invoice. So I would advise that there are situations whereby, now this is more okay, this is to everybody anyway. There are situations whereby you have some customer, like that's the first time they are coming and you don't expect them to come back again. Now you don't expect them to come back because they are not owing you. You understand what I'm saying? So we call this kind of people walk-in customers. They come in, pick the product and go. You understand? So it's advisable for you to create a general customer for that kind of for that set of customers. You can call the customer walk-in customers. Walk-in customers. So you know they walk in into your store, picking, or they call you, pick their stuff and go. So at this point, there is no credit facility for you and them. There's no credit facility for you and them. But if you believe, the essence is You don't want to have too many customers created on your system. At the end of the day, they don't have a return cost. They are not the kind of returning customers. But if you are so optimistic that you can follow up with them, you want to do a kind of email marketing to them, you want to continually follow up with everything that they do, then you need to create them as a customer. Whether they are working customers or outgoing customers, you need to create them as a customer. So, but if I use this aspect of a shop that, or the store that they just come in, pick up their product, then leave. You know, some might not even give you their details in that situation. Oh, you just like, but when you ask for phone number, when you ask for email addresses, they are not giving to you. They are not giving. So you don't even have that platform whereby you can say you want to send them messages, or you want to send them emails. So in that situation, you might not create them as working. You might not create them as a customer. Understand? So that is the reason why I'm saying that, so that I'm just trying to stress out that, so that you do. So now, if you look at it, the system automatically generates an invoice number. Now, what that number? Well, in this situation now, the other number here is that number. If you have a source document that has a kind of reference number, and you want to include that reference number on the system, then you could use this other number. But if this other number is coming from your quotation, if you are generating, you are converting an invoice from an order, you are converting an invoice from an order or a quotation, then automatically this is being filled. You understand? But let's assume the training we have now is on invoice, which is what we are doing. So if we have not converted from any previous document, this we are creating it directly from here. So in this point, at this level, what you just need to do is to create or enter an invoice number. If you don't have an invoice number, you can leave it as it is. You can leave it as it is. It is not important. You understand? You can leave it blank. Then invoice date, the date at which the transaction is being done. Please, this is very important. Don't say, okay, because the customer came in yesterday and the sales was actually for yesterday, and you now recorded the sales as of today. Please don't do that. Do it the date at which the transaction actually happened. It happened yesterday, right? So put that yesterday's date there. You understand? So it gives you a true picture of how sales is being done. So with this, you can actually get a business insight, a correct business insight. So you can actually know the trend of sales at this point in time. You understand? Then also the terms, like I told you, you know, when we created customer the other time, we make the default. So let me just pick one customer for instance. So to pick customer, so let me show you how to pick customer. So to pick customer is either you drop down here, which will list out all the customers. Look at this now. You can see what is it displaying. It is displaying the code. You understand? So, but if you look at it, the code, you are not familiar with the code, but you are familiar with the name. Then why don't you just use this magnifier box, or you call it advanced customer search? So all you just need to do is just to click here. When you click here, it brings out both the customer name and the code. You understand? So you can then pick which one that you want at this point in time. You understand? So if I decide that, okay, this particular customer, I'm not using a foreign customer, you can see that this is a foreign customer. You can remember we created this, so use this. So but I'm not using this. Let me just pick one. Let me say this. You understand? So immediately I pick this, then I can give it a date. You also have opportunity to change your payment term. So this payment term you are choosing is for this particular invoice. It means that from this date, the invoice date is 26th, that the due, when the invoice will be due, is 25th of January. So that is a month already. That is 30 days already. That is 30 days already. So if I click this now, I can change it. So let me say 15 days. So if I do this, you can see this has changed. You understand? So this would affect anything. Now look at due at the end of this month. Look at this. See, so this is at the end of this month. So these are just different types of this thing. Now due on receipt, which means it's going to be due today. You understand? So let me just pick one. Let me say okay, to be due in 30 days. You understand? Now if you have other information that you want to use, for instance, look at this. Now let your customer know what this invoice is for. You can put a subject. So it is this subject that when you want to send your mail, when you are sending this invoice, automatically this becomes the subject. Whatever you write here becomes the subject of the mail. So please take note of that. This becomes the subject of the mail. Look at the okay. You can enter up to 250 characters. If you do not require this field, you can mark as an inactive on the okay. That is if we don't want to. Yeah, we can, but it's not also an important field for us to fill, so you can leave it. Now look at this item detail. So you start picking the items. So all the items that were actually created would become a drop down for you here. So these are all your items. So you can always pick your items at this point in time from this level. You understand? Then you can put a quantity, you can put the rate. So if I pick, for instance, let me pick this, the rate should come with it automatically. You can see the rate comes with it automatically. So if you have a discount that you want to include, you can also have that discount on it. The VAT also comes up automatically. You understand? So these are the things that the system will do for you. So look at this VAT now. Automatically the system has given you the VAT elements. So you don't need to start calculating anything again at this level. You understand what I'm saying? So now also there are files at which you can attach to this document. For instance, I don't know, but if there are some, maybe the customer brought, maybe there is a document or a quotation or something, he brought a document that is what you actually use to raise this document. You can attach the files to it. You can attach to your invoice. So at every point in time, you can always call it up. It comes with your invoice on the system. So these are just the basic thing. Now immediately you pick this customer. Look at, since you have picked this customer, the email address you have attached to it also becomes here. You understand? It's also here. Now if you have received payment for this invoice, you can click here, receive payment. Now the system asks you what is the payment mode. If that is situations whereby this is a working customer, you understand, you can click this, so the system will automatically do this for you. But let's assume I'm not doing it, then I click on save as draft. So save as draft means that you are saving that document. You are saving it, you are not doing anything on it. You understand? It has not been posted. It is just on the system. So this is what save as draft means. Why save and send? What save and send we do is that it will save it and also send, and at that same point it is posting it. You can see. So that is what the system is going to do to you. So we look at an example. We look at an example of how we can raise this invoice. So I drew up something. So let's make use of that. I want to show you something. So let me just cancel this. Yeah, leave this page. Let's leave this page.